There's nothing like a few fancy schmancy desserts for the holidays, and I'm going to show you how to make a beautiful charlotte. Take the components of the charlotte, ladyfingers and chocolate mousse, and make them into two separate desserts. Ladyfingers take a little bit of effort, but they're so much nicer than the store-bought variety. The mousse comes together very quickly as well. For the ladyfingers, you only need flour, sugar, egg yolks, and egg white, and just a touch of cream of tartar to stabilize the egg whites. Your egg whites should look nice and glossy and shiny, but it's very easy to over whip your egg whites. And if you over whip your egg whites, they turn grainy and they start separating. So this is what your egg white should look like. You shouldn't have any loose egg white. It should be able to hold it upside down like this. Okay, so this is what you want your egg yolks to look like. You want them to be quite light. They've increased in volume and they're quite pale. You can do this with a hand whisk, but it's a lot easier to do with a stand-up mixer. Okay, what we want to do is we want to combine the egg whites with the egg yolks, but I'm going to temper it a little bit by adding a bit of the egg white mixture into the egg yolk mixture. The idea is that we don't want to collapse our nicely beaten egg whites. Okay, so now we gently want to fold the egg yolk mixture into the egg whites. And the last ingredient is the flour. Now I like to use a sieve while I'm adding the flour. Just make sure that I don't add it all at once. And then pour the dough into the piping bag. But what I like to do is I like to use a canister to hold the bag in place. Okay, so when you're holding a piping bag, place the piping bag comfortably in the palm of your hand like this, and you want to squeeze from the top of the piping bag. When you're piping ladyfingers, what you want to do is you just want to make a simple line. Now all I have to do is add a little bit of icing sugar to the top, and then we're going to bake them in the oven at 350 for about 10 minutes. I'm not worried that they're all not perfectly the same size, because what we're going to do after we bake them is line them up and trim the bottoms so that the tops will all be the perfect size. Ladyfingers are delicious on their own as well, so why don't bake up an extra batch and tie a ribbon around them and give them away as hostess gifts. So after I piped the ladyfingers, I piped the spiral base. Just take your piping bag, pipe the spiral base, bake it, same way that we bake the ladyfingers, and now we're just going to put it on a piece of cardboard. This is the fun part when you actually assemble the charlotte. What we want to do is we want to take all the ladyfingers and have them around the base, but we need to hold them in place with something. And there's a few different ways you can do that. You can do that with a springform pan. Springform pan unlocks, or you can use one of these flexible molds as well. Now we're going to add our ladyfingers, icing sugar facing out. This mousse is the easiest mousse you'll ever make. It contains only 2 ingredients, chocolate and cream. We're going to melt the chocolate over a bain-marie, which is just a saucepan with some simmering water, like this. And we're going to whip up the cream, and we're going to combine the two together. I'm going to add just a little bit of the cream to the chocolate to temper it a little bit, and the rest we're going to whip. It's important that you melt the chocolate gently. As you're placing it over a bowl of water, you want to make sure that it's not boiling. You just want to have a very gentle steam, otherwise your chocolate can seize up. So just take your time with this one. Look, really, really easy, but you do need a bit of patience. So you're whipping your whipped cream very lightly. In fact, if you hold it up like this, you can see that it just drips from the bowl. And that's what you're looking for. You're not looking for this being whipped to a stiff peak. When chocolate and cream collide, something magical happens. That's it, instant mousse. Okay, I like to pour the extra mousse into little shot glasses or little sherry glasses. You don't need that much. Because mousse sets, you can create a nice collar by putting a piece of parchment paper or even tin foil around the container. For my garnish, I'm marinating cranberries in port. Then I'm going to strain them and roll them in sugar. Another beautiful garnish for your mousse is a pear chip. You can also make an apple chip exactly the same way. And all it involves is slicing a pear very thinly, but you don't have to use an expensive mandolin. You can also use one of these vegetable slicers as well that are very inexpensive, and they do exactly the same trick. This is a very simple sugar solution of water and sugar, and I've added just a little bit of lemon peel just to give it a little lemony flavor. All we're going to do is brush the pears on both sides, and we're gonna bake them in a very low oven, about 185 to 200 degrees, and I bake them for a couple hours until they get firm. Another great decorating idea is dipping leaves in chocolate. So these have been in the refrigerator for about 2 minutes to firm them up, and we have a beautiful leaf. So to finish our chocolate mousse, we're adding a pear chip and a chocolate leaf. Beautiful. So to finish our charlotte, we just want to make sure it's set, and then we're going to add our sugared cranberries. Now for our final garnish, we're just going to add some fresh holly.